"I can read your mind," the little girl said. The words were so soft they might have gone unheard, but in the silence of the courtroom they rang clear. Judge Randall laughed at first, dismissing her with a sharp chuckle, until her next word struck something deep within him, his darkest secret. The buzzing murmurs of the courtroom swelled with unease. At the center of it all stood a little black girl no older than 8. Her loose braids framed a dirt-smudged face, and a faded blue jacket hung loosely from her frail shoulders, the sleeves frayed and worn. Her bare feet made no sound as she stepped closer to the towering figure of the judge. Randall gripped his gavel tightly and cleared his throat, demanding to know who had brought her there. The bailiff answered nervously that she had asked for the judge and refused to speak to anyone else. Randall arched an eyebrow, but the girl lifted her chin, her wide brown eyes unblinking as they locked onto his. "Because I can read your mind," she said again, louder and steadier. The room fell into stillness. A ripple of laughter broke from the crowd, and even Randall leaned back in his chair, smirking. He told her this was no place for childish games, but she did not flinch. Instead, she whispered that he did not believe her, just like the others, not until she revealed what he had been hiding all these years. The laughter died instantly. 2 days earlier, the girl, Amara, had been found wandering the streets barefoot and alone. Her lips muttered truths that sent grown men trembling. To one man in a suit, she said his wife knew what he had done last summer. To a shopkeeper, she whispered that he had stolen money from his best friend's wallet. To another, she calmly revealed he was planning to run away with his lover's sister. Each time, faces turned white with terror. One man even shouted in panic before shoving her away and running down the street. When the police arrived, they tried to question her. Asked about her family, she said they were gone. Pressed on how she knew so many things, she replied that she could see them in people's minds and feel their secrets. One officer muttered that she was delusional, but Amara turned her gaze on him and revealed the affair he thought was hidden, the woman he still met every Thursday. His face drained of color. His partner shifted uneasily, calling the child unnatural and asking what they should do with her. She kept repeating that she wanted Judge Randall, and so they brought her straight into his courtroom. Now standing in the center of that room, Amara stepped closer, her bare feet silent on the polished floor. Her gaze never wavered. She told him he had hidden something for years, something that still woke him at night dripping in sweat. Randall's smirk faltered, though he snapped back that she was lying. Amara raised her small hand and gently placed it on the crown of his head. Gasps rippled through the courtroom. A lawyer hissed for her not to touch the judge, but her hand did not move. Her eyes fluttered shut as if she were listening to something buried deep inside him. "You didn't mean to do it, did you?" she whispered. The words struck harder than any gavel. Randall's heart thundered. Amara's voice carried on, mournful yet steady. He had pushed her, not realizing the fall would kill her. His face drained of color as the room went deathly still. She said he buried the body near the river, convincing himself that becoming a lawyer and then a judge had washed the guilt away. Randall shot up from his chair, slamming his gavel so hard the wood split. He roared that it was nonsense, but Amara asked why his hands were shaking. The crowd erupted into whispers. Randall's breath grew ragged. He barked at the bailiff to take her away, but Amara's words rang louder. She told him he still saw her in his dreams, still heard her screams. Randall stumbled back, pale as chalk. He demanded to know how she could possibly know. Amara opened her eyes and stared into his. She said the woman was still screaming and she could hear her. Chaos exploded. Reporters lunged forward, cameras flashing, while lawyers shouted over one another. Randall bellowed for order, but his trembling hands betrayed him. Sweat ran down his temple. "You hear her too, don't you?" Amara whispered. "Her cries, her pleas, the way she begged you to stop?" Randall roared again, calling her a liar, insisting he had never hurt anyone. Amara tilted her head, her braids brushing her shoulders. "Then why can I see her?" she said softly. The judge froze, breath catching. She told him he had buried the woman near the riverbank, weighed her down with rocks. His legs wobbled as he gripped the edge of the bench. She revealed he had kept her bracelet, hidden in a box under the floorboards of his study. Randall's eyes went wide with terror. A woman in the back row cried out, demanding to know what bracelet. Amara answered sharply, describing how he had torn it from the victim's wrist as she scratched his face. The courtroom erupted in frantic murmurs. Randall shouted for her removal, but Amara cut him off with the name, Claire. She was 24. He had promised to drive her home that night. Randall's mouth fell open. His face turned gray. Amara said Claire had trusted him. But when she refused him, he lost control. He pushed her. When she stopped breathing, he panicked. Suddenly, Amara gasped and staggered backward, clutching her head, crying that Claire was screaming again and would not stop until the truth was out. Randall backed into his chair, trembling. His voice broke as he sobbed that he had not meant to hurt her, that it was an accident. Silence swept through the room. Then a young man in the gallery shouted, his voice raw with grief, declaring that Claire had been his sister and calling Randall a monster. Reporters surged forward, cameras flashing wildly. Officers closed in. Amara slowly lowered her hand and whispered that Claire's voice was gone now, that she could finally rest. Minutes later, officers declared Randall under arrest for the murder of Claire Donovan. He sobbed as they dragged him away, insisting it was supposed to be a secret. Amara's gaze followed him coldly. She always knew, she whispered. She just needed someone to listen. The final slam of the gavel echoed like a funeral bell. Amara stepped down from the stand, her bare feet silent on the floor. A reporter, pale and shaking, asked her how she knew all of it. Her lips curved faintly. "I don't just hear thoughts," she said softly. "I hear the voices of the ones you tried to silence." With that, she walked barefoot out of the courtroom, leaving stunned silence in her wake.